Okay. Had some drawbacks, and I say that because of right here is the last class, or the last, and when we did design systems normally, right, I break it down into very, very small chunks, and we do a lot of stuff in class, right? And look, we have an entire class on SVG refresher. There's a class just on dealing with our art boards, you know, and we don't kind of have this like incremental, like micro way of doing stuff. We're really doing this from a broader perspective, right? And so, you know, we don't get this microscopic online. But I'm gonna borrow from the solution that we came up with for the UX portfolio. And so what I'm gonna do in the next 10, 15 minutes, right? I have 16 minutes to get out on time, is walk through this process. Okay. All right. And some of this is just a recap and a rehash of what we've already done. Okay. Because I want to get everybody on the same page. All right, 16 minutes. I can do this. I can do this. All right, so I'm jumping up and down here. All right, part one, rewatch this stuff. Understand why a design system exists. Okay, re-reference all these materials. Okay, why is Salesforce, Google, Microsoft, IBM, Apple won't share theirs, Walmart, right? Facebook, why are these big companies spending millions of dollars on this? Calling millions is an exaggeration. No, right? You have more than 10 people working on this, right? They're making at least $100,000 a year. That's an easy $1 million right there, just in salary. Okay, before we even get into all the people reviewing it and okaying it, you have a lot of people collaborating on this one thing. Why are companies spending literal millions of dollars on these things? All right, be able to answer these 4 questions, right? What is the goal of a design system? Why is it important? How does it help us? Who is it for? Right, and down here, right, I've listed some answers to these questions. Okay, like some sample answers. Well, who is this design system for? Not you, right? That's the one I'm trying to make here. Is we're designing. This is for Silverback Solutions. Okay, and so just keep these things in mind, right? So under this, do this section, right? Create a Figma project called Silverback Learning Solutions. I forgot to copy the S. Good there on part 0. Check with me. All right, let me know. Emojify. All right, part 2, or just hit spacebar and say something. All right, part 2 is a client kickoff. We did this part. Okay, like this is key. I'm not touching the design system, and I can talk to somebody about this, even on the phone. Okay, or I have a client in New York. Sounds fancier than it is, but we need to talk about this. We need to have an understanding of what is happening here, right? Like we're having discussions. Like you gotta talk, lots and lots of talking. You not believe how much talking goes into before we start designing. Okay, so again, rewatch this 50-minute lecture if you need to, right, on from the client. This is the recording of the client kickoff meeting, and right, Allison is just walking you through this stuff. Okay, so go ahead and rewatch that. So we also have an outliner in terms of, all right, good. All right, so there's that. Again, name of the product. What is the name of the product? Some of you can't even answer that, right? Because I keep calling it by the company name, but really, what is the name of the product? Anybody? They got 3 products. What is the name of this one that we're redesigning?
Isn't it Milapost?
Oh, close.
Something like that.
Milapost is Professor Hustler's tool of choice.
No, that's Milanote. I mixed the 2 names. It's
Milepost.
Milepost.
Right. See, I already messed that up, y'all. I'm on recording saying I wrote down milestones. So all over, and now I gotta go back and fix all this because I wrote milestones. Okay, so already, like I went a little too far. I was like, wait, let's get the project name. Platform, we understand it's web, audience. All right, Danielle, at the end of class, you can talk to me more about Milanote. See how you feel about it. All right. Okay, things we addressed in the presentation, okay, is why are we doing this? What is getting in their way? What is problematic about all of this? Okay, and then what you need to do is, we're asking where the communication between the designers, right? The designer is essentially Allison, because she's the user, and this engineer is Joe, okay? But they even said in their presentations, like, well, they need to have a better understanding, okay, of how one request affects the other. So when Allison makes a request, she was very sensitive in saying, I know this adds to Joe's work, right? She knows the complexity going in. And our job is to also be able to do that. If the client can understand their relationship, we also need to be able to understand that relationship too, right? Designers, I cannot stress to you this enough. Stop throwing your hands up in the air and saying, that's not my problem. It's all your problem. You're the gatekeepers on this. Embrace it. That's why you get paid the big bucks, right? That's why they put all the weight in your shoulders. This is it. Embrace it, right? It's the fun of the job, by the way, too, right? It's fun to design something that a lot of people use and see and appreciate. Okay, so you have to accept the ownership of what you're designing. Goals, remember those goals. Here again, oops, right? Don't forget who are the users of this, right? Who's using this, right? Don't just say Allison. Okay, we already talked about this. Again, when you log in, don't forget the dot. Okay, don't forget the dot when you log in. All right, so what do you need to do for part 1? Rewatch the client kickoff meeting. All right, reaction, let me know that you're there. Good, makes sense. All right, or just chime in. All right, take inventory. This is just a recapping of what we did. Down at the very, very bottom is all the screenshots that we took. I hope that you take your own. These were just examples that we did in class. Okay, again, the login. I put the login everywhere because I'm trying to encourage you to log in. Talk about, right, so how to do this. How can I not spell consistency? All right, so you've addressed the pain points, and then from the pain points, you can start looking at what are some of the visual inconsistencies in all this, right? Like what needs to be standardized, okay? I don't know why it's doing that. The consistency, I think I spelled it right, yeah. All right, and then from that, you're gonna organize all this stuff together, okay? And then whether you put this into Notion, Figma on your own computer, right? I have a trust that you have made these screenshots. Okay, so normally, like, you know, you submit this to Canvas and I grade it. It's the equivalent to grading your sketches. Like the assumption is that you are sketching. Okay, what I envy about writers is writers don't have to submit their they don't have to submit their writing. Right, it's clear that you're writing. Right? It's clear that you're revising. It's clear that you're editing, and I think a lot of that is the same way for design. So. All right, you're collecting these screenshots however you want to put them. All right, my suggestion is to put them in a place that you can reference over and over again. Okay. All right, with me on this one? Check in. Thumbs. All right, something better than thumbs. I made a note here, right, on each of these is put them in a place you can easily reference. Like print it out, like and put it in front of you as you're designing. Like paper is awesome. Like write on paper. Like just keep reminding yourself. It's hard to keep all of this in your brain. Like find a system to get it out. Okay, and we teach you this in professional practice, right? To have this trusted inbox. Get all of this stuff out of your brain into a place that is trusted and that is organized, that you can easily refer to. And Notion, right, as we saw last week, changed their pricing, right? So you don't even need the student discount anymore, right? As of 2 days ago, they changed their pricing, right? Like, okay. So unlimited blocks, unlimited upload. I'm just going too fast. Good there, right? Notion, Milanote, right? Danielle, am I saying that right? Milanote, right?
That's how I say it. I don't know if it's right.
Airtable, use whatever tool you like. Google Sheets. Okay. All right. This is what we did in last class, right? We evaluated these components. Okay. And so how I came up with components is I just ask these questions all over and again. How can this stuff be grouped together? Easy, the easy parts, type, color, icons. Okay. And then a good thing to ask is how often are these things being used, right? Like what is used often? Well, if I take a look at this, right, what is used quite a bit? Probably these tabs, like probably the filtering through the students. What is used less often, right? Probably these modals, because at some point you'll understand what these modals are going to do. Okay. And then the same thing here is, are we just printing straight, right? Or are we actually customizing this? And that'd be a good question. And as I say this out loud, it'd be a good question to ask Joe or Allison. This is like, how often is this used? right? And I'm going to pass that question on to them, because if it's not used frequently, right, then we can get rid of it, right? If people are just coming here and going printing and not even thinking about it, right? So the student file transfer file, I always, it took me a bit to understand how these are related, okay? Because I would change this label to customize print. It's essentially what's happening, right? You're customizing the print. You're turning things on and off that are going to be printed to paper, right? Because that the next call to action, okay, is print. So, all right. So we're going to evaluate those components, right? Again, conceptual stuff, the fun stuff for me that I don't have time to talk about. Is it purposeful? Does it have a intention and use? All right. Is it reusable? Is it a standalone, unique thing? Right? Is it an ID or a class? Web designers. Okay. And is it flexible enough for what we wanted to be able to do? Okay. And if it's not those things, they don't make a good component. And if they don't make a good component, maybe it shouldn't be there. And that's a good way to start getting rid of stuff. Okay. Um, to borrow from Marie Kondo, right? Does it give you joy? Does it improve your life? What else does she say? It's been so long. The Japanese art of tidying up your life. Yeah. Yeah. Does it spark joy? There's spark joy. There's also the Japanese art of organizing. Yeah. Those are her 2 books. All right, so you're going to review the screenshots, consider all the points above, and then you're going to use your answers, not my answers, right? Your answers to the points above here, and use that to identify how you're going to do your design, and that's going to guide your visual design, right? Whether you have an empty artboard on Figma that just says, here are all of my questions, and then here are all of my answers, right? Use that as your guiding light to design from. All right, with me? Check, check. All right. So the design part, this is the straightforward part. Okay. So one of your classmates got a little bit ahead of me in this, and I'm perfectly cool with that. So I don't mind standing on the shoulder of giants. Now, the problem with standing on the shoulder of giants is the expectations are big. Okay. And I say this because, right, we know that we're going to be borrowing components and concepts from material design, right? Here are all the material design components, right? So much so that there's an entire section called components. So what I am saying is there's no shame, there's no harm in going ahead and using the material design, right? This is made by Figma themselves, because a lot of people are designing Android apps, okay? And a lot of people are using this design system. So what you can do is come in here and just copy and paste all this stuff out. Pause there for a second. So wait. Is this cheating? No. Because these are the components. These are the components you can go in and modify. How you use these ingredients is up to you. So some of these ingredients, some of your design ingredients might not exist. So make that ingredient, right? But if it's already pre-existing, you're welcome to use it. Okay. Now, what I mean by standing on the shoulder of giants, every design system that you bring into your work or you copy and paste into your work has a lot of subcomponents. And if you find yourself fighting a design system, it ain't right for you, right? So some of you are going to fork and clone and copy. Some of you are going to create from scratch. Okay, we can't all use the exact same process. So there's links to those two material design components. Here are all of the, whoa, that moved. Where did this go? Determine color palette. Oh, darn it, where did I move that to? Right there. Okay. These are all of, that's what I don't like about Notion, is it's hard to copy and highlight. These are all the things that we addressed in last class. Okay, so I'm not going to rehash that. Okay, those are all of the components that we addressed. The new things of that, right? And I said it a lot in last class. I said you're going to be surprised how much is similar than different. So as you go through this, right, there's tables in each of them. Okay, tables and tables. All right, hold on. There's dialogues. What do I mean by dialogues? Dialogue. Okay, modal, pop-up, right? Everywhere you go work, they're going to fight about those, right? I'm old. I say overlay. Okay. even people older than me say modal. So, but y'all say dialogues. Y'all have also introduced snack bar into my life. Right, these are called snack bars. Okay, and what was it? Yeah, I'm gonna stop. Yeah, snack bars, chips. Okay, don't get me started on the burrito versus the hamburger in design. I feel like designers are like really hungry when they think of common stuff. I said that menus. Okay, again, we have menus all over the place. Menu. Okay, and of course, so I've linked out to tables, dialogues, and menus. Right, this is the starting point for some of these designs. Okay, and you're going to look at this menu and go, yeah, I want this functionality, but I want this look. So fork it and change it. Okay, and that's what this material design kit is encouraging you to do. Is like, all right, here's a starting point. Go change it. Right. So we have that. Okay, and then keep asking yourself these questions. All right. So questions I get commonly, and this is pulled from lecture here. How many things should I design for? As much as to properly communicate your ideas. How much fidelity should there be? As much as to properly communicate your ideas. How many X, Y, Z, A, B, C should there be? As much to properly communicate your ideas. That's the hard part about being a designer. Right? There's no answer. Well, why don't you just give me a number, Colin, and do your job as an educator? Because that's not design. Right? Because you what I need you to be able to practice and be able to do is say, this is where my design attention needs to go, not here. Okay. So this is the hardest part of this entire project right here. Right? Then that's what you need to be able to figure out. All right, do this. Okay, optionally, again, optional. Okay, you can use the material kit. Right, you're already redesigning these inside of Figma. And lastly, all right, what students want. All right, I talk to the client. You're going to submit a Figma link by June 3rd at 1 p.m. for client review. You're going to submit a link to me by June 12th, 11:59 for grading. All right, so I have 17 seconds. So really what you can do, right, what I'm allowing for is, look, you can submit next to nothing for the client and just get no feedback. Like, oh, you didn't get anything done, right? But then from that, you have 9 days. What I'm saying here is this is the first check-in, and they want to give you feedback, and feedback is important, okay? And if you can get this, if you can get it done for the client on the June 3rd by 1 p.m., they would love to see it, okay? But for the university, I'm giving you as much time as I possibly can, right, for you to get this done. So if you're thinking, this is, in an ideal world, everybody gets this done and the client loves it on June 3rd at 1 p.m. and we can be done, right? And there is no feedback and there's no design revisions. Good? Check. All right, that's my time. So I'm going to stop recording.